All right, class. Welcome to your first homework assignment. Yay! All right. Um, so here's the thing. We will be doing this more often. Okay, you will be getting homework. Um, More likely, it's probably going to be videos like this. It might be something different, just like a worksheet or something. But yeah, you will be having homework from now on. Okay. So today, for your homework, we're going to analyze the Articles of Confederation. I would strongly recommend that you guys listen to this because this is vital. Because this is what happened in our country. People don't know about the Articles of Confederation. These people you see on the news and talking about, oh, this is not our country's so great, la la la. They have no idea about the Articles of Confederation, and they think a lot of them truly think that right off the back we created the Constitution and everything was perfect. No, we messed up horribly. And that's what today's lesson is about. How, like the second thing, the objective. We're going to examine the effectiveness and ineffectiveness of the Articles of Confederation. You're going to see how bad it was. Okay. So here is your warm up picture. So the question is saying, what do you think this artist is trying to say about the Articles of Confederation? So if you really can't make it out, it's a ship. But if you look at the on the sides, I know it's not drawn very well, but it's like the Kraken. If you watch the Pirates of the Caribbean, or a big squid, the tentacles are coming out, and it has different things that it says on there. You know, so what do you think this artist is trying to say about the Article of Confederation? And look at the bottom quote too. That should help you out. Okay. So think about it, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. So at the end of the revolution, basically the colonies win their independence at the Battle of Yorktown. They corner uh, General Cornwallis. The French are on the seas, we are on the land, and we're just bombing them from both sides. Now, the thing is, once our delegates went and made peace, they came back home and they're like, okay, let's start a government. That's the first thing we need to do. So they started saying, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that, they need to add this, add that. The government shouldn't be able to do this, shouldn't be able to do that. So the Articles of Confederation was created and it basically formed our government. The problem is, like I've said in previous classes, it's like when you get an app that you really, really want to use for social media or gaming or whatever, and it says on there, be sure to read the terms and agreements. So you're just like, whatever, you click it because you want to start it already. You didn't read it, right? Same thing with this. Those guys were so in a hurry to start a government that they really didn't think about the repercussions and ramifications of their decisions. Okay. So, great example is this: it gave each state a vote because our government was singular, meaning it was just one large government. There wasn't variations and branches and things like that of the government. No, it was just a big solid mass. And it was a unicameral, which means one house. Okay. Um, the thing is, they couldn't make laws unless all the states agreed on it, all 13. Now, Congress, sad to say, only had 10 powers, and everything else belonged to the states because that's what those guys wanted, that the states be powerful and not the federal government. So let's go through those powers that Congress had. Number one, they can make war and peace. Okay, sounds legit. Two, they can receive and send ambassadors, people representing the United States to other countries. Cool. We could enter into treaties, meaning make peace and discuss terms of surrender and, you know, agreements with other countries, right? Four, raise and equip a navy. Sounds good, right? a navy, ships, and all that good stuff, right? Now, this is where things get a little tricky. Maintain an army by requesting troops from states. So the United States government did not have an army. They had to ask other states, hey, can you send us some troops? Hey, can you send us some troops? You know, so yeah, they didn't have their own army. They could appoint senior military officers, so colonels, generals, things like that. They could do that. Fixed standard weights and measures, basically how much this a pound is, how much um, a mile is, things like that. They could set that kind of stuff. Regulate Indian affairs. Hey, discussion with Native Americans, make treaties with them. If there's an issue that comes up, it would be them that deal with it, not the states. Establish post office. Okay, hey, the mail needs to be sent out. Okay, and dispute certain decide certain disputes among states. So if some states were arguing with one another, depending on what the argument was, Congress could address it and find a way to make the peace between the two states. Now, other than that, that's all Congress could do. That's it. Those 10 things. Okay. And this is where the problems comes up because you didn't see anything there about collecting taxes, did you? All right. So they couldn't collect taxes. Sorry about that. Um, they had to rely on states to collect tax money for them. And even then, um, the states really couldn't force them to pay the federal government taxes. And sometimes if they got money from people, the states didn't give the money to the federal government because the federal government had really no power. Okay. They didn't have the power to regulate trade. Now, why is that important? Well, thing is, you don't want the price of something being too high. Because let's say I say, um, I'm willing to pay $50 for for a bottle of water. How many people are going to bring me bottles of water? A lot of people, right? Because hey, this bottle of water costs nothing, and I can get $50 for one. Heck yeah! So a bunch of people are going to bring me water. Okay, am I going to pay everybody $50? No, because now I have options. Now they're going to be like, okay, well, you know what? Since there's so many people here, um, probably $1, 50 cents. Okay. Now I'm sure you're thinking, well, I'll just walk away. Sure, you could do that because hey, water is tangible. You could take it with you. But thing is, like crops, milk, things like that, they don't last long. So if people don't sell them, then they're losing money. And that's exactly what happened. Some places were like, I'll pay $100 for a barrel of corn. So a bunch of farmers made a ton of corn, and all of a sudden they're bringing it to this people, and we're like, hey, this is way too much corn. I'm not gonna pay you $100 a barrel for all this corn. The price is now like $1 a barrel. So those farmers went out of their way to make all that corn, thinking, oh, I'm gonna get $100 a barrel, but now they're only getting $1 because everyone else did the same thing as them. The thing is, where the government does is they regulate it, say, no, 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 $100 is way too much. Maybe like $20 max. That way, the farmer can then say, you know what, $20, I might put a little bit of my farm towards making corn, not the whole, all the acres. You know. Another thing is they couldn't force anyone to obey the laws that they passed. So Congress, yes, they made laws, but they couldn't make anyone follow them. They didn't have the authority. Like I've said in classes, they're like a baby with no teeth. It's just so cute to see them kind of get mad and try to bite you, slobbering on you. And that's all Congress could do. Talk a big game. We're gonna come after you. We're gonna put this law against you. Good, do it. You can't make me follow it. You know, it'd be like Congress making a law. All of a sudden, there's no cops around. People are gonna do what they want. If there's no CHP, people are gonna be driving like crazy down the roads, right? Same thing. So Congress could only advise and request that states say, yeah, we'll make sure people follow the laws. But the states didn't have to do that because, again, they didn't have to follow what the federal government said. Um, and again, any type of changes and agreements to laws and some of that, the amendments had to be approved by all the states. And again, they never agreed. There's always at least one state that said, no, we don't like that. And because that one state said no, it all went away. So it was basically all or nothing. Another big one, which is kind of hard for people to fathom, was there was no executive branch. There was no president. You know, there was no president of the United States. This and that. We did have like presiding leaders. Technically, we did. It was considered like a president, but not really. That's why we don't officially count those. Like, I think there's like 27 guys um, before Washington. That's why we really don't count them. Okay. Also, there was no national court. States enforce and interpret laws the way they want to. You know. So if they said no, let's say they're going to put a law about racing a horse, and they said, okay, no speeding. Well, one state might say the speeding is 3 miles an hour. Some might say five. They went at their own discretion. There was no set number, no federal number. They just said, oh, well, in our state, we say it's this number, you know. And this made settling any type of arguments between the two states very difficult because each side was like, well, I'm right, you know. And here's the thing, because we couldn't pay our taxes, or sorry, we couldn't pay our loans because we weren't collecting any money from taxes, we went into a recession. We our debts got bigger and bigger and bigger. And thing is, some states did the really, really stupid thing of printing more money. Now, some students have said in the past, well, why is that bad? Because it devalues the dollar. And especially back then, the dollar was equal to gold. So let's say a dollar was worth a pound of gold. You could go to a bank and exchange that dollar for a pound of gold. Okay. Now, when they printed more money, the value of the dollar went down, meant you got less gold. Okay. So imagine working so hard for all week and then suddenly you make $100. You're thinking, I'm going to get 100 pounds of gold. Instead, you get 100 tiny little nuggets of gold. You're going to be upset because a tiny nugget compared to a pound, that's a big difference. And all because the state decided we want to print more money. You know, so when that happened, farmers were hit the worst. You know, because now they're any money they had, now they can't. It's basically worthless, and they can't pay back their loans for the land they bought and some of that. The regulated trade messed things up, so now they can't sell their goods at a good price. So yeah, and what ended up happening, this farmer named Daniel Shea led a rebellion in the state of Massachusetts, and it took about a month. They almost like tried to take over the state, and it took about a month to squash the rebellion. But the thing is, it was the state militia that had to stop them, and people were like, well, where's the federal government at? And they're like, what do you want us to do? We don't have jurisdiction in that state. We don't have power to interfere in that state. Oh, what about the army? What army? We had to ask you guys for soldiers. We can't buy soldiers. We don't got no money. We got no tax money. So how can we buy soldiers to go and fight. We have to ask you guys, every state, for soldiers. What do you want from us? You guys did this to us. And this made people realize that a weak government is really not good for our country. That we need a strong national government in order to do things and fix things that need to be fixed in our country. All right, so here is your first question. Um, of all the problems the Articles of Confederation created, which one do you think was the worst? They couldn't collect taxes, they couldn't regulate trade, they couldn't make people follow the laws. All any new laws and amendments needed to be approved by every state. The fact that they had no president, nobody to say, hey, you got to follow the rules, you got to do this, or that there was no court system and it was all based off of the prejudices of the state. So, what do you think of all those six things? Which one do you think was the worst? So, the writing prompts on the bottom to help you out. I believe the worst problem created by the Confederation was, and write down which one it was. Don't put was one or four. No, write it out. Okay, write it out. Amendments couldn't be approved by the states. Couldn't regulate trade. Okay, don't just put the number and explain why. Why do you feel that way? So once you've answered this question, you're done for this lesson, okay? So congratulations on finishing your first homework assignment. Really proud of you. Good job, okay? So with that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later.